It's foreseeable that under the economic recession and unemployment wave sweeping China, more and more defaults will emerge, and more people won't be able to carry their payments and will become deadbeats on the government credit list.
Yesterday, I saw a middle-aged man cry for 2 minutes. He was in tears because he read an article that probably struck his nerve. The article said that when you see people with computers and iPads in Starbucks, and they seem to be talking about work, but they are actually looking for work. They are usually over 35 years old. They have reached a certain age, but are unemployed and afraid to go home. When they go home, they have to face their wives and children and their entire families. With the enormous amount of pressure, where else can they go? They go to Starbucks, bring their cell phones and laptops, and pretend they're working. In reality, it's a bunch of unemployed middle-aged men busy looking for employment information.
Right. So, I'm going to go through a few tabs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 tabs actually. This video will not be long, will not be over an hour long or multiple hours like the previous video just before it. I'm going to go through a few videos, and you see the title here, and by the time you're done with this video, I would certainly like the internet's thoughts on this matter, but I think this warning needs to be set out, considering the two parts that I'm going to be doing to this video. So the first part is I'm going to go through the 10 tabs. Again, will not take all that long. And the second part is I'm going to explain my current situation and and my situation specifically, or at least the situation that I'm going through, that apparently, well, when I say it and say everything in there, you'll understand. So let's get started. Let's get started with that. So first thing is this man. This man is very funny, actually. I will have a link to his TikTok. His stuff is hilarious. But let's get started with that, all right? By the way, fair use for all these fair use. We all know how this game is played.
Does the millennial generation have a midlife crisis?
Millennials do not have a midlife crisis. Come here. It was already said so beautifully. Millennials cannot have a midlife crisis because every single day is a brand new crisis.
Yes, sir.
Right? We are living in a time right now where millennials have not had a break from historical events happening in current times.
Yup.
Millennials have lived through 2 recessions.
Count them. 1, 2.
Right now, right? Ask a millennial when's the last time they were able to sit down and relax and not stress about anything.
2000, well, no, because that was post 9/11, so not 2005. 1990, before, because 14, I had to get a job because I was growing too fast and my mom, so I had to get a job to pay for my own stuff, school clothes. 14, that's like 2000, 2001, high school, entering high school, middle school, high school. Yeah. The last time I was able to seriously sit down and just chill over and above normal is probably 1997. And 2 things happened in that year. Number 1, the first Pokemon came out. If I'm not mistaken correctly. Was that 95? I think that was 97. And also Final Fantasy VII came out, and that game caused that game pretty much caused a shutdown, because that was the first time of 3 discs, and people were playing that game, people were binging that game, teachers were binging that game. In addition to students, that was more people called out from school, skipped school, and called out from work just to play that damn game that game damn near shut down everything. So that was the last time, 1997. I'm 36 now, and I was born in 87. So when I was 10, that was the last time. Okay, let's keep going.
Promise you that I have to think about it. A midlife crisis insinuates you have enough money to buy and do things that you wish you would have done when you were younger. Millennials have the same financial status as Gen Z right now, which is paycheck to paycheck and just buying things hoping that the card goes through.
Yeah, paycheck to paycheck. Yeah, keep that in mind for later. So, next tab. You see how fast we're going through this? So, yes, this will not be a whole hour. Alright, so we're going to go with this one right here. You see the title. In fact, let's bring this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 6. Okay. There we go. Ignore whatever the hell that is. Boomers can't conceptualize. Okay. This college student, so this is either late millennial or early to mid Gen Z. I think late Gen Z is still in high school, so there's that. Maybe. God knows what the hell's coming after Gen Z. Jesus Christ, we need to shut this shit. We need to wrap this up. Boomers can't conceptualize. This college student on TikTok says older generations don't know about inflation, never had to fight for jobs, and the comments are in full support. Yeah, when we get to my thing, yeah. And we're actually going to play what she says. I could have sworn I put this thing on silent. I ain't got it, so you can't get it. Sorry. We're gonna do that, but let's go through this. Since the 1980s, the economy has changed in ways that are simply difficult to describe. The real impact of inflation and wage stagnation isn't apparent unless you dig deeper into the numbers. That's precisely That's precisely what a recent college grad did when her mother commented on the idea that young workers expect too much. Okay. Some points here. Rich young Americans have lost confidence in the stock market. Okay, yeah, this is something else. Quote, I think boomers can't conceptualize this struggle because they never had to fight for jobs. Ain't that the damn truth? Said Kat, a 21-year-old, so that's like young Gen Z or tail end of young Gen Z. Shit. 21-year-old college student. She took to TikTok to explain why older workers might find it difficult to empathize with the... Jesus Christ, I put this thing on silent. To empathize with the economic. Patrick Jumpin, cause 4 base. Cause number 4 base. There you go. She took to TikTok to explain why older workers might find it difficult to empathize with the economic struggles of younger people after a discussion with her mother. So that's boomers. That's boomers or old Gen X at the very least, or at the very latest. About mismatched expectations. The video has now been viewed more than 2.2 million times. Kat says her mother made... You know what? Comments agree. Some good news. Yeah, okay, we'll go through it. This shouldn't take too long. Kat says her mother made $36,000 a year as an entry-level bank teller in the 1980s. Okay, a good 7 years before I was born. Meanwhile, the average entry-level worker in America now makes $55,000 a year, according to her calculations. However, when adjusted for inflation, the entry-level salary in 1982, about $33.70, was closer to $102,200 in today's dollars. Okay, so you see where this is going. All right. Effectively, a recent college grad is making half as much as his or her parents did if they graduated 40 years ago. This is also true for low-income workers. And of course, none of this applies to me, and you will see why this doesn't apply to me. And it's worse for me me particularly, I can only speak for my situation, obviously. You'll see when we get there. Okay. Effectively, a recent college in today's dollars. Effectively, a recent college grad is making half as much as his or her parents did if they graduated 40 years ago. This is also true for low-income workers. The federal minimum hourly wage is the federal minimum hourly wage in the U.S. was $3.10 in 1980. And is $7.25 today. $7.25 today. These workers may have doubled their income over 40 years, but it's apparent the cost of living has accelerated more quickly. This damn phone will shut the fuck up. My God. Lower all that. Jesus Christ. Okay. These workers may have doubled their income over 40 years, but it's apparent the cost of living has accelerated more quickly. Okay, $1 in 1980 had the same purchasing power. Purchasing power. Every single time that I talk to people about this, I simply shut down the argument completely, shut them down completely when I say, bring back the dollar value and purchasing power of the 1960s, 50s, 40s, 30s, or behind, then we'll talk. Do that, then we'll talk. Until you do that, I don't care what you have to say. I don't care if you are in agreement with me. 100% with no deviation. Don't say shit to me, positive or negative, supporting or denouncing, until that happens. And that's that. And I just simply walk away. $1 in 1980 had the same purchasing power as $3.68 today. To preserve purchasing power, at least by 1980 standards, the minimum wage would have to be the minimum wage should have soared to $11.40 by now. Huh? Are you sure about that? The minimum wage should have soared to $11.40 to preserve. Preserve purchasing power, but that's purchasing power because from what I understand, the last time I heard what the minimum wage should have been to keep up with inflation, it was over $20. I think it's like $24 or $25. So I don't know where they get $11.40. When was this? I actually had this and actually had different tabs, but I couldn't find them all. But I've actually had these tabs open and I haven't shut my computer down since before I graduated. That's how long I wanted to do this video that you're watching right now. But something happened and then the computer lost power and it wasn't hooked up to a UPS. So I lost it all. And I had to try to get back these tabs and I found most of them. So this thing was freshly open. When I first opened this, it didn't have any of these numbers. When was this thing written? Okay, well, normally the Tuesday, it wasn't this past Tuesday. This thing has, no. But anyway, whatever. Anyway, labor has effectively been devalued, which is at the root of many younger workers' frustrations. And TikTok comment sections are one of their favorite places to express their feelings. Oh, I don't know, I can't get that. Comments agree. Boomers had to do. Okay, well, you know what? You can see this. You can pause it. You know, you can see that. You can see that. You can see all that. And of course, I will have a link to it. Moving right along. Here she is right here. And we're going to go through what she said so that you all can get a full context of what she said.
I'm about to graduate in May. A lot of the conversations I've been having with my parents lately have been surrounding what I'm going to do when I graduate, where I'm going to go. So my mom works for a company that's just like huge. And she said something to me yesterday that makes a lot of sense in regards to why it's so hard to find a job.
And I cannot get this thing on a full screen. And I cannot even get it enlarged, so you're stuck with this, but I'll have the link, so there you go.
Or even to find a salary right now that would be livable as someone who's like fresh out of college.
And fair use.
She said that a lot of the people who are in charge of hiring there commonly say things like, college grads expect way too much, or I didn't have that much when I graduated. Then she says, yeah, when I first started, I made $36,000. And I was like, $36,000 today or $36,000 in 1980? So she made
Boom.
$36,000 starting off entry-level bank teller in 1980. Right now, out of college, I want to make $24 an hour. That would put me at $50,000 a year, which is equivalent to having a $16,500 salary in 1982.
Now, she says this, fresh out of college. I don't know how much experience she has. Fresh out of college, she wants to make $24 an hour. Keep that in mind for later, when we get to my personal situation.
So I did some research. The average college grad in 2022 was making $55,260. In 1982, the average college grad was making $102,200 right out of college. So today, $26.50 an hour is 1982's $49 an hour. So this sentiment being held by boomers of, oh, well, they're just expecting too much. I just don't think they know what numbers they're talking about. Like, I think in their head, they're like, oh, I made $36,000 in 1980 and you're asking for $50,000 now? So then I dug a little deeper, started looking at housing, apartments. In 2022, the median selling price for a single family house was $507,800. In 1980, that same price is equivalent to today's $223,202. In 2022, the average rent for a one-bedroom apartment was $1,900. In 1982, that same number was equivalent to today's $737. Like, I actually think that boomers just can't conceptualize how vastly different these numbers are. And I think boomers just have such a hard time conceptualizing this because they never had to fight for jobs. They were at the upswing of technology, they were at the upswing of big business, capitalism was booming, and then they look at us and they're thinking, entitled.
That and boomers, fresh out of World War II, the boomers' parents, which I believe is Silent Generation and maybe even whatever came before the Silent Generation, or what is it, Greatest Generation? Whatever, Greatest Generation, Silent Generation, whatever. The World War II generation, before the boomers, just before them, and then the ones before that, okay? So the boomers, being kids, okay, kids and then, growing up, well, actually, no, not even kids, like, just, I guess, your age, right? Back when they were 21 or whatever the hell. The thing that people need to also realize is, fresh out of World War II, Europe is fucked up. The rest of the world is either fucked up or just non-existent, for lack of a better term. The USA was pretty much the only thing around. They were the only superpower, quote-unquote superpower, left. Plus, they came in halfway through the war, so there's a natural barrier, the natural physical barrier that the U.S. has. Mexico and Canada, they're not really, right, especially back then. So the USA was, there. They came in halfway through a war. They basically just came for the food, and that was it, right? So they didn't have to go through the bullshit, okay? Just drop 1 2-bit bombs, boom, boom, and it's over, right? Came for the food and then left. Meanwhile, everybody else is sitting there bent over, on their backs with legs spread, just completely fucking raped, okay? And the boomers get to enjoy all of this. World War II generation and, I guess, Silent Generation before them, okay, you got the whole D-Day business, but okay, Normandy Beach and all that bullshit, but really, again, compared to everybody else in the war, So, yeah, they really had everything given to them, especially since nowhere else in the world was competing with them at the time. So they had no competition. Compared to now, we have what? Global competition? And that's before AI. I will have a video on AI coming. Considering what I just listened to on AI, and as somebody in the IT field, right? I will have a video on AI coming. And as fucked as we are without I say you might go get some guns. That's separate. So yeah. So she's quite right. Moving right along.
I'm not saying anyone's like in the right or in the wrong. It's not their fault. Like,
I'm saying that they're the ones with all the experience and all the knowledge and wisdom. Supposedly, they should know this shit. They're the ones that are now running what? Multinational banks and government and all this shit. Yeah, I'm saying they're in the wrong. They should see this old credentialed experts with the experience and all that.
they just don't know. Literally just don't know what the...
They know they're not trying to pay, because if they give you money, that means they're gonna have less. They're just not trying to pay. They full well fucking know. You can't tell me with all of what it takes to do all of what they're doing, running multinational conglomerates, banks, government and all this shit, they can't pay somebody to run some fucking numbers and analysis and do some latitudinal, longitudinal, both studies, and they know. They fucking know. But then you might be talking about your mom. Oh my God, well my mom just doesn't know. She knows just as good and goddamn well. She just doesn't want to fucking pay. She knows full well that if you... I'll come back to that.
fuck I'm gonna do when I graduate. And anytime I talk to my parents, both of which are boomers, they're like, stop having such high expectations. Also, I don't want to see any comments about, well, you should have majored in computer science, or you should have majored in medicine. I think that if you go to college, you deserve to be able to make enough to live comfortably.
Well, thank you. I sure as hell fucking think that, especially again, considering my situation. Keep that in mind for later. But if you went there to major in women's studies, if you went there to major in underwater basket weaving, which apparently is at least a course, if not a degree, yeah. But, if you went and did what society claimed it wanted, if you took your finite life, as I did, and this is why I take umbrage to this whole thing, if you took your finite life and finite youth and went and gave society what it wanted, I think life owes you. Yes, I said it. Life owes you. Society owes you. Nobody owes you. Yeah. Nobody owes you anything. Yeah, they do. Yeah, they do. Instead of doing what you wanted to do, which might have been to go start an OnlyFans, or just go do porn, or just go play video games, or just go rob and steal. No, you went and did what society wanted. In the case of me, society claimed from way the hell when I was in kindergarten that it's gonna need IT. Computers are the future. It's the wave of the future. Oh my God. So I put all my eggs in the IT basket. Okay? They're going to claim that, they need doctors and stuff, especially since boomers are retiring and they're going to need medical help. So we're going to need nurses and doctors. Okay, if I go and take my finite life and go and be a nurse or a doctor or whatever in the medical field, yeah, life owes me. Society fucking owes me. I did what you wanted. You need to come fucking pay me. You need to compensate me for taking my finite life, doing what society wanted, not what I wanted. You want me to go build shit to Mars? Fine, I went and did engineering. Yeah, you need to fucking pay that. You're not about to sit here and tell me, market forces. No, motherfucker. No. I'm a fucking engineer. I'm a fucking doctor, fucking nurse. I'm fucking... so much up there in IT, you're not going to tell me that I got to go live in a row house with fucking roommates at 30, 40, 45 years old. Not happening.
I think if you don't go to college, you should be able to make enough to live comfortably. Regardless your major, regardless if you chose to go to college or not, you deserve to live comfortably. So anyone who says that your path to success should have looked differently, they're probably just not able to conceptualize the reality of today's job market and the reality of how much it costs to go to school nowadays.
And there you have it. I will have a link to her stuff. Okay. I do not have TikTok. I just have their videos. So there you have it. Okay. What is this?
Should you live with...
Yes. Yes, and this video that I found from him, I actually found this originally from Facebook. This is again back to Jordan the Stallion 8. I'll have a link to this. This is what actually started this whole thing. This and one that I found on Sergeant Willie Pete's page. We'll get to it. This one and this one. Okay, so let's go.
Should you live with your parents past 22?
I'm 20 right now. I'm still living with my parents.
Yeah, see, here's the thing, right? Come here. At this point, there is no longer an age limit to staying with parents. Does that make sense? Right? I know before it was like, oh, once we turn like 20 or so, try to move out of your parents' house. The way that life is going, that is quite literally almost impossible at this point. People who claim they don't live with their parents anymore, come here. They probably have roommates somewhere else, right? And living with your parents or living with roommates, both are pretty uncomfortable. The only difference is, at least if you live with your parents, somebody's going to say that they love you at the end of the night. Well, for most of us. But you know what I'm saying, right? At this point, living by yourself is almost impossible. Anybody who does live by themselves, they either are working so much that they can't even enjoy living by themselves, or somebody is helping them pay those bills, because at this point, it's impossible.
Yes, sir. Okay. And again, keep all of these tabs in mind for later, for when I tell you my current situation right now. When you hear my situation, oh, okay. But we have just a few more to go, so let's just do it. This comes from wherever the hell this comes from, but I found this from Sergeant Willie Pete 2252, whatever that is. Sergeant Willie Pete is one of these originals, ancients, those old people from the Marvel Universe, what was it, the Galactic, whatever, you get what I mean. Like, he's one of the old people like me. Like, I've been on YouTube since 2008, so, you know, there's that, or 2007 or some shit. But he's one of the old ones. I found this on his thing. So here it is right here, fair use, fair use.
Show you guys something. I live in my car, right? Let me show you the situation. Alright, I live in Silicon Valley, right? Let me show you just a street that I'm walking on. Luxury apartments, right? Condominium type, really luxury style. These are like 30 to 40% full, because companies like Essex, Prometheus, things like that, they're going around telling their investors that people can afford $4, $5, $6 grand a month for apartments. And you know what people are doing? They said no. Show you guys something.
Oh my god. Oh, and also keep I mean, okay, yes, you can sit here and talk about obviously, well, since they're the vast majority of the U.S. population, of course there's going to be more of them, but do keep this in mind. Like, people immediately like to go to, oh, this is going to hit minorities more, and obviously it will. But you're starting to find a lot more white people, just white, not people of color, not minorities, of which white women apparently are too. No, white people. And it's not just white, it's not just poor Southern hick town. What? No, it's Silicon Valley. It's all types of whites. So once they're getting hit like this, the younger generations, you see what I'm talking about here. You see where it's going. So, right. This one is interesting. I do everything right and I can't afford rent. I'm not, now, fair use, but I'm not going to play this entire thing.
Can we talk about something serious for a second? I am 27 years old now. I have a full-time job. I worked really hard to get here. I have a college degree, everything like that. I'm financially responsible. And in 1 month, I'm gonna have to move out of my apartment because I can no longer afford it.
A TikTok video by creator Kimberly Marie highlights the growing destruction of rent increases across the U.S.
To be really transparent, I live in Florida and I pay about $1,200 to $1,300 a month for my apartment, not including utilities.
Now, I'm willing to bet that's not Miami. I've never lived in Miami. I've actually never even been to Miami once in my life. But that sounds like you're somewhere not there. I don't know. Maybe you're off in the Panhandle or something. Okay, college town, whatever. But that doesn't even sound like Miami, Florida. So there you go. And it's sure as hell not fucking Key West. So there's that.
Like all that good stuff. I got my rent renewal offer last month. They raised the rent $900 for my apartment. It is not even 1,000 square feet. It is like 800. And honestly, I'm fine. I'm moving back in with my parents. But what about the people who don't have family here?
Unfortunately, her story isn't unique. I know many of you have seen headlines or have
Alright, well, I'll have a link to this so you can go watch that yourself. Moving back in with parents. What did he say? What did he say? What did he say? Right? Yeah. Moving back in with parents. And then of course there's this. I simply typed, because I was looking for this video actually. No, this video here. I was looking for this video. And I just typed in can't afford rent, and we just go through all of this. The car that even billionaires can't afford. Workers say they can't afford rent in LA. Of course, people can't afford rent. Okay. So just go there and type that in, and that's where I got to. Okay. So, comes to the last, because this one is just, this man, his shit is just funny. But this one is interesting, and this I believe is in the UK. I was actually had one from the UK, so it's not just a US problem. I had one from Britain as well. This lady who works full-time, has every single thing, but is like about to be homeless. No, she was homeless, and then she found some hole-in-the-wall place that looks like Skid Row pretty much. Right? And that was in the UK, and again, that was one of the ones that I couldn't find again. But there is this one here.
I feel like we're being kicked under the
fair use.
Rug, the low guy.
Among the folks spending their Wednesday afternoon at Curry Park,
this is my stuff that I live out of my car with,
is Diane Thomas.
Hygienes and products are in this too.
The difference between her,
my blanket, my shoes,
and others here today.
This is right now my home. I stay in my vehicle because of the price of the rent that don't went up.
And this is where she's been sleeping for 6 months.
I've been looking, but the prices that they want for a 1-bedroom is way out of my range. I can't afford it.
So for now, she's stuck because rent prices aren't coming down.
It's really bad. It's really, really bad out here.
And buying a home is out of reach.
I would love to buy something, but the housing market is so expensive right now. You know what I'm saying? So,
Florida, Palm Beach, and Treasure Coast. So I'm guessing it's going to be roughly that area. Now, for those of you that might say, well, why don't you just move, especially since you literally can move. Are you sure about that? Yeah, she is mobile, to say the least. But can she move? A lot of people don't seem to understand that the amount of money that you spend moving, you probably end up in somewhere. So, there you go. Oh, okay, well, I didn't see this. She gets help. There you go. Literally, she needs help, and I didn't even see this one before. Maybe we'll watch this. Yeah, I guess we'll watch this and see the update for her. But there you go.
With the rent prices, I might as well try to purchase something and pay for a mortgage and then pay for rent. But you know, it's all the rent papers you got to go through, and it's really, really expensive to even purchase a home right now.
It could.
And yes, of course, I mean, I know the understanding with that, and it does make sense on the surface, but then when you also have to think about insurance this and maintenance costs that, especially if it's on a brand new house, and all that stuff. Plus, despite what anybody wants to say, the 2008 housing crash proved even real estate can go down. So nothing is immune from the growth, life, maturation, and death dynamic of life, of existence, especially nothing physical, right? So yes, even houses can be a depreciating asset. Even real estate can be a depreciating asset, despite what anybody wants to say, as proven by the 2008 crash. Moving right along.
Get any worse as interest rates are going up.
Put simply, if it's not a place that you're just living in because you have a family, like wife, husband, and kid, or kids plural, or it's not a rental property, that is bringing a positive cash flow, there's really no point to having a house, or I guess maybe even, well, I mean, a land doesn't really need maintenance unless it's being lived on or being used, if it's just an empty lot. So I guess you could have land, but as far as having a house with the maintenance and all that business, nah.
Credit repair specialist Paul Oster
It's absolutely crazy.
says the cost of home buying has now hit a 10-year high.
For first-time home buyers, what do you think the housing market will look like in 2023?
It's kind of a double-sided coin. I think prices are certainly going to start to come down, but I think interest rates are going to continue to rise. I mean, we might be 7+, before you know it.
And then with interest rates, what do you think the timeline is? When do you think we might see those start to come down?
So I certainly see a pause, but I don't see a pivot until the mid or latter part of this year, and maybe not at all. We really have to cool inflation if we want to get out of this, with as little damage as possible.
And until then,
I've been home for 6 months.
people like Diane
And I don't know what to do.
are left searching for help.
I think probably is ways to help for us I'm not the only one. I speak for many, many people that's going through this right now.
In West Palm Beach, I'm Jessica Bruno, WPTV.
This is embarrassing,
News Channel 5.
Let's no. All right, so there's that. Now let's see the updates of her. She apparently got some help, which is more than most people can say. So let's see. 2 minutes. Let's go.
There's a new guest at this hotel in Royal Palm Beach.
I'm feeling comfortable and safe in here.
And Diane Thomas is enjoying every second of it.
Nice hot shower. Thank God.
Because these are essentials
And I have my nice refrigerator.
that she didn't have
And my little munchies, my little food and stuff.
last week.
My stuff that I live out of my car with.
We first met Diane when she was living out of her car
I've been home for 6 months.
due to high rental prices that she can't afford.
I do work. I work, but it's a little over my price right now,
After seeing our story,
I can't explain how my feelings are right now.
an anonymous donor stepped in, paying for Diane to stay here temporarily.
Somebody saw your story and wanted to help. How are you feeling?
For these couple of days, I promise you I have felt better than I have felt in the last 6 months.
Tell me again what it felt like to be able to sleep in a bed for the first time since July.
I slept for 2 days. I slept for 2 days. Oh, son, I took a hot shower. Who helping anybody out here no more? But it's still good people out here.
In a series of emails, our Good Samaritan said, on top of paying for the hotel stay, quote, I have been working with my cousin who is a real estate broker in finding a place for Miss Diane Thomas.
Got an apartment to look at 1 and 1 at 1:30 today. Just keep our finger crossed. Because I've been looking at apartments, but I keep paying the money that I don't have for the application fees can be up to $175 just to tell you no, I found somebody with a higher income.
New research from Florida Atlantic University released this week found that an abundance of short-term vacation rentals and restrictions from HOAs and condominiums are contributing to the ongoing rental crisis in South Florida.
Both of those take units out. They drive up the average rent. But we have to build more units. We're not building anywhere near the number of units that we need for the amount of people that are coming in.
And for longtime Florida residents like
wrong. I don't think that's the case. I think you need to get control of the rents. And I know over in Europe in some places they have rent controls and stuff, and I guess that's un-American. Who are you to tell me how much money to make? Well, soon you're going to make nothing because nobody can afford it. Okay? Here we have what looks to be at least a boomer, okay, who's going through this, and a lot of boomers are actually in trouble, despite what anybody might want to believe. Yes, the vast majority of wealth is with the boomers right now still, apparently, but that's a few of the boomers. Most of the boomers do not have enough for retirement. You think she has enough for retirement? Okay, and she's not the only one. And it only gets worse when you get down to Gen Z, and then of course millennials, we're fucked, and Gen X, and then millennials, we're fucked, and then Gen Z. And that's why I keep saying we need to end it at Gen Z. Whatever the hell we're doing, nuclear war, whatever, extraterrestrial invasion, God comes back for this world. This shit we need to stop this shit at Gen Z. Like, all this shit needs to end at Gen Z. We can't let whatever the hell's coming after Gen Z get to 18. Cannot have them getting online. That's just me. But okay, so I was about to sit here and say, oh great, so she's just in a hotel and then she's back on the street. But hey, somebody wanted to help. Awesome. Glad she's getting the help. You know, very happy for that.
Diane.
What's the next steps going to be?
It's pricing them out.
Unrelentless situation.
Oh, sorry. Yes, sorry. I didn't mean to go off. No, it's not building more houses, because they're just going to raise those. They're just going to put those prices for those new houses up as well. All this economics of supply and demand. No. That's that is bullshit. Okay. Supply and demand would see certain things not really happen and not be so extreme before they happen. Supply and demand would have seen things correct themselves before they get to this bad of an extreme. But once you start putting in government interference and people lobbying the government or getting once you get people with money start paying people off, government officials, to put laws like this and make this so that it can be like that, and then put this like that, rather than just letting everything naturally happen, 100% all natural, straight from the ground. Yeah, no. So I don't give a fuck about any of your supply and demand and economics and all that shit. Things would not be the way they are if economics, all natural, raw economics, was at play here without any kind of synthetic intervention, I'll say, for lack of a better term. Okay? So, no. It is not building more houses. The houses are empty because nobody can afford them. Alright? They're empty because nobody can afford them, and or you have people... what the hell is it? BlackRock? No, not BlackRock. Some places... Some firms that are buying up all the houses and then charging sky-high rent for them. And I don't know who the hell is paying for them, because the vast majority of people can't. And I don't really see foreign people coming in like that buying them all up. I don't care how rich they are. So, there's that.
Right now. So I need help. And I thank y'all for everything.
In Royal Palm Beach, I'm Jessica Bruno, WPTV News Channel 5.
Okay, so that's it for these. And keeping all these in mind for later, again, this is just his stuff. Now we get to my situation. And for that, let's just go dark. And you can just hear my voice. You don't need to see me. Just listen. Okay? So, my situation. As anybody who's been watching me for any significant amount of time knows, I graduated school, what is it, last month now? Middle of last month? Okay. So I now have officially my degree. Don't have the piece of paper in my hand. That's still I think that's gonna get here the end of next month. Okay, fine. But I have the degree. Awesome. What I also have is 18 years of raw, real-world IT experience. 18 end-on-end years and counting. Okay, so it's not like I left the IT field and then came back and just got blindsided. I've been in this shit since 2005. Yeah, about 2005 when I left high school. Okay. Or actually, while I was in high school. In high school leaving. Okay. I also have 2 certs, one of which, actually no, one has expired, but it just recently expired. So, okay, 1 cert. So 18 years of experience, a degree, 1 cert. Okay. Can easily get that A+ back. That's not anything. As everybody knows, to finish this degree, I had to stop working because what I was doing, what I had to do, even for an associate, what I had to do, the work I had to do, especially the second semester, I could not do that full time while also doing work full time. I am here with my girl. She works. She makes however much she makes. Y'all don't even know exactly how much that is. And so with my savings, and if shit doesn't straighten out soon, also the credit cards, plus she brings in a regular income. That's how we've been living, surviving. Okay. Here comes the problems. Okay. And maybe one day I'll explain why it is that I didn't get a degree at 18 to 22. Because I did kind of hint towards that at my video before last, the graduation video, of how, you know, I did hint towards that. So maybe one day I'll explain. That's a story for another day. But here comes my problem. I knew that I had a feeling that finding a decent job, a proper job, a good job that you could, God forbid, like, you know, build in, you know, much less, was going to take some time. So from March, I actually started looking for a job. After 2, because my classes in school were staggered, they didn't all 4 of them start the exact same day and finish the same day. So when 2 of my classes of the 4 finished, I started looking for a job. Middle of March, I actually found a job. Uh-oh. So what's the problem? Here's the problem. And this is something that, from what I've come to understand, is, I've never seen this before. It certainly wasn't around back in 2020 when I got my previous job that I left. Okay. I got this job. It is a full-time job. I got it in the middle of March. I have also gotten 2 other jobs, full-time, halfway between the beginning and middle of, halfway between May, so April, I'm sorry. So March, middle of March, and then beginning of April. Okay? I have technically 3 full-time jobs, 40 hours a week. I have done the entire onboarding. I have given them my direct deposit information. These are legitimate companies. I found them on LinkedIn. I found them in the Better Business Bureau. I looked them up in whatever state that they're headquartered in. They are legitimate companies. They are not from India or China or some scam from Nigeria. They are legitimate companies. Okay? And I am technically employed by them right now as I'm talking to you at, what is this? Filming at Monday, June 26, 2003 at 12:58 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. I have had these jobs since what, March and April? We are now at the date and time I just told you, and I have not worked there once. I have not gotten a paycheck from them once, even though technically I work at these 3 places, 3 40-hour jobs. Did the full onboarding. I have access to their intranet, or at least I did. And in the case of all but one, I had access to, I had my own email, so I was ready to go. With one, I've lost access to the intranet of all 3 of them. I've lost my email in 2 of them. I still have access to my email for one. I have not worked or collected a single paycheck from them since the day that I got the job. 3 full-time jobs, no income. No. Okay. I have been doing video interviews and recently a phone interview, and this last interview that I did, which was today's what, Monday, so that was Friday. The last question she asked me was, what made you, are you currently working right now? And I explained this entire thing to her. And she said, yeah, I've heard of that. There's actually, you're about the 8th person that's told me this kind of thing. Apparently, what I just described is not new. Now, my girl, she works in talent acquisition for, well, don't worry about where she works, but she works in talent acquisition. She's been working there for at least 2 years now. She knows how this recruiting shit works. I explain it to her. And she apparently, and she tells me that these companies now, especially these agencies, what they do is they get people fully in the system, full background checked and everything, to sit there and tell their clients, okay, we have this person ready to go. And that's how they're doing it now, by and large, not every single one. However, that then leaves these people that think they have a job with no job, even though technically, at least on paper, they do have a job. So, bringing it all back with all of these tabs of all of what you just heard, right? Plus what I'm saying now, plus you see the title. Are you sure it's that we don't want to work? Or is it just that the people with the money, which is largely boomers, maybe some early Gen X, number one, aren't trying to pay, and number two, with what I just described, and apparently I'm not crazy because my girl explained to me what the hell they're doing, and this recruiter that, another recruiter, that I explained it to when she asked me, she's heard that before. Apparently every single person she's run into has told her that for the past several months now. Okay? So apart from them not wanting to pay, because every single job that I apparently can get a go-ahead with, they're trying to pay me $20 an hour. And that's going to be the final point that I'm going to make, and I'll get to that in a second. They're not trying to pay. And with the people that are trying to work like me, they apparently don't want us to work. Despite the fact that the bills are still here. Now then, on the matter of pay, I now have more credentials and more raw experience, especially in the IT field, the IT realm, the IT world universe, existence, whatever, than I have ever had in my life. When I was working at Thomson Reuters, or the company that was owned by Thomson Reuters, we say Thomson Reuters to look good on the resume because nobody's heard of Mark Monitor, which is now, I think, Clarivate Analytics, whatever. Okay. When I was working there, I started at 32 an hour, and I ended at 35 an hour. That is the most I've ever made in my life. I've not made anywhere near that before, and I haven't made more since. Okay? I did not have a degree then. I had less IT experience, not none, but less. I had 0 certs. Okay. My last job, well, I'm not even going to bring up how much I was getting paid at my last job, but the only thing that I did not have was I had 3 years less experience and no degree. Everything else, I had the certs walking in, certs plural, and I had 18, 17, 16, 15 years of experience. And they were paying me how much they were paying me. I keep telling people this, if you want quality, you're going to have to pay for it. And I also say this along with it, as a part of it, that's not just consumers consuming. That's not just for consumers. That also applies to businesses, employers. Okay? We are constantly told, God knows I've been told this ever since from K straight on through, K through 12 and in college, get more degrees, get more experience. The more you learn, the more you earn. And motherfuckers are trying, and the most that these companies are telling me now, I'm sitting here looking through these companies, the most I'm getting for these jobs. First of all, half of them want a bachelor's fucking degree, okay? And they're trying to come at a bachelor's degree with $20 an hour, $21 an hour, $22 an hour. In the case of some, when they really want to be fucking insulting, $18 and $17 an hour, but they're sitting here saying bachelor's degree required. This is fucking IT. This is somewhere in IT. It's not engineering. It's not like freaking senior program or anything like that. Fine, but the fact that it's IT any at all, and it's not like Geek Squad. It's not any. It's consequential IT. I'm just gonna leave it at this. Now I'm gonna be careful what I say here because I'm not trying to give Maryland any excuse to go and try to take away my freaking concealed carry license because you motherfuckers are not getting that shit back, all right? You can try, you're not getting it back. Not getting that back, not getting the guns back, okay. However, since apparently I am not the only one in this situation, I'm going to tell you this right now. Society in the United States, shit will have to change. If you know what's good and healthy for you, shit will have to change. Now. Okay? Because despite my situation, I realize I have stuff to lose. There are lots of people here that really have nothing more to lose. And they're not in jail, but they have nothing more to lose. Society, American society, and probably just, I guess, I don't know, maybe this is all over the world because I'm sitting here looking at stuff where apparently over in China, they're kind of going through somewhat of the similar thing. So maybe it's just, but at least here in the US, shit's gonna have to change. Shit is going to have to change. And it's going to start with the people who did what, again, as I said earlier, what society said it wanted. And it's not like, okay, society said it wanted horse-drawn carriages and people trying to do horse-drawn carriages today. No. People that did what society said it wanted today, you're going to need to make sure that they're taken the fuck care of because they spent their finite life doing what society wanted and expecting to get rewarded by society for that. And now you're telling those people, nah, fuck you. And you're not even telling them what it is. Okay, what do I need to do now? That's the one thing that I noticed. Nobody's able to say what now. Okay, in my case, okay, I'm here in IT. I am of consequence in IT. I'm not fresh out of school with no experience demanding $1 million an hour, demanding 6 figs, right? Truth be told, I'm actually only asking for 65. 60 to 65. Why? Because I figured, okay, let me just try to undercut the competition a little bit. Plus, living my minimalist life, living minimalist as I do, despite the current economic situation, I can make it work with 65. Plus, that's just me, my girl, also bringing that in. Fine. But when you're sitting here telling me that after all of what I did, now it's like, well, we're not going to pay you more than, we're going to pay you as much, if not less, than what you were making before you had the experience and credentials and degrees and all that, and certs and all that stuff that you do. That's not going to work. Person went through all that time in med school, or all that time to train as a nurse, or all that time to train as a freaking engineer, and now you're going to sit there and tell them, yeah, you know what, no. And what, okay, so what am I supposed to do now, society? Society won't tell me. But the only thing that we see is bitches getting OnlyFans this. And this is why, you know what, I'm like, hey, maybe women were right. Maybe women saw the writing on the wall before the rest of society did. Some women. And it's like, you know what, fuck all this working bullshit. I'm going to make these titties shake. I'm going to make this ass clap. I'm going to make sure I keep this pussy tight and sell it to the highest bidder. Or hell, maybe not even sell it to the highest bidder. Just get everybody throwing money. OnlyFans style. Doing OnlyFans, doing amateur porn, selling whatever, selling dirty bathwater, whatever the hell. Right? Because it's not fucking worth it. It is not worth it. My girl wants me to go back into school to go and get my bachelor's. I'm not fucking doing it until I get a job to bring in some money. Or until I get income by whatever means. At this point, by whatever means. Know what I mean? Know what I'm saying? But the people that did what society said that it wanted, society needs to take care of those people. You want to go to Mars, you want teleportation, you want warp drives, and you want all these fucking engineers to go and do it for you? Yeah, when they finally finish engineering, you're not about to sit there and go tell them, hey, got to move back in with your parents, hey, got to go to the food bank for food, hey, got to go live in this damn row house. Because I know when you started, oh yeah, engineers were coming out making 7 figures, but now y'all are making minimum wage. Nope. You want all these diseases cured, and you want all of these biotech, well, not even biotech, but doctors and actually doctors. I've been going the more herbal, all natural herbalist route as of late, but okay, forget the herbalist thing. Let's say for all the diseases, flesh-eating viruses or whatever the hell, stuff that'll knock you out instantly. You want cures for that stuff? Cures, not treatments, cures. Yeah, the people that go into school to go learn that shit, yeah, you're going to need to pay them when they get out. You're not about to tell them that they need to be sitting there struggling just like the person who's trying to make ends meet working on call at McDonald's. Okay? Because again, oh my God, IT. This shit fucking kills me. DC keeps complaining, even to this day, about how they are so desperate for cybersecurity professionals. I have a fucking degree in cybersecurity. and I am not fresh out of school with just a degree and that's it. I have 18 fucking years of experience, and what's stopping me? Not the background. No, well, have you been to jail, nigga? Nope, sorry, I have a fucking CCW from Maryland of all fucking places. My background checks the fuck out. What? I don't have a fucking clearance. Nobody wants to go and sponsor for a fucking clearance. Why? Because a lot of people before, for whatever reason, plus a lot of people before, what I'm also hearing, took that clearance from some non-entity place like Fort Detrick and then took it to some place making consequential money like, what is it? Not Suburban. That hospital that the president and all them go to when they get sick and fucked up, the one across from NIH. NIST, no, not NIST, the Navy Medical, I think it is, whatever the hell it is, Army Medical, Air Force Medical, whatever. My girl's friend's husband did just that. Got his A+ Network Plus Security Plus, went to Fort Detrick, got his clearance, ghosted them after like 3 months, or maybe he lasted 6 months, went straight down to that Army Medical, whatever hospital that is. Making bank as he is, okay, fine, but it's stuff like that where it's like, nope, everybody says need to have active security clearance, top secret clearance, whatever the hell clearance. This SCSI, CSIS, NIH, and NCIS with polygraph and whatever the fuck. Nobody wants to sponsor it, and you can't get it yourself. You have to go through them. You have to get sponsored for it. You can't get it yourself because the lowest consequential clearance costs like, I think, $30,000 or some shit like that in background checks and administrative costs. And then the highest one, what is it? That Yankee White or whatever the fuck that is, or whatever it is. The highest level clearance costs, I think, 70. If I remember the Secret Service agent right, or the whatever the hell that guy was, from my Uber days in DC, I talked to a lot of people, a lot of diplomats, a lot of Secret Service, a lot of former CIA, former FBI, former NSA, former all that. Okay, doing Uber in DC for 3.5 years in DC itself. They said it's like $75,000 for that. So no, you're not getting the people that can afford to do that. Obviously, are not going to do that. They're probably making far more money in the private sector, and the people that do need that clearance cannot afford to go do that on their own. And even if they can, for whatever reason, you have to be sponsored. You cannot get that shit on your own. Imagine if freaking just random ass citizens just getting that shit for whatever. Yeah, no. I say all that to say this. And lastly, for all the people that want to say, well, just move where? Forget all the other examples I gave of the engineers and whatever. Take me, for example. Move where? Where the fuck am I moving? Yes, in today's day and age, a lot of shit is remote, but not enough. Okay? Not enough. Move where? First of all, IT, with the exception of like Austin, Texas, IT is on the fucking coast. I'm not going to Wyoming for IT, not going to North Dakota, sorry, not going to Kentucky or wherever. IT is on the coast, so I am pretty much stuck on the fucking coast. Unless I get some remote job, but even then, you know. And those remote jobs are not, there's some other stuff that I don't want to get into. And then, of course, the money it costs to just completely lift, uproot, pick up, pack up shop and go, you know. Cost of living, fine, whatever, but if there's no jobs, the cost of living being zero really doesn't mean shit now, does it? I believe it was, what the fuck was that guy's name? L3, what is his name? The guy that did, what is it, L3 or E3 Consulting? Forgot his name, but he said, hey, get out of the small towns, get into the mega cities. The mega cities are on the coast by and large. So, there's that. Anyway. Sorry this went to an hour. I was kind of hoping it wouldn't have. But, sorry, but at least it's not going to be 7 hours. Okay, 7 hours. Gee, how the fuck did I do that? So, yeah, give out the warning again. Y'all don't have anything to worry about for me, at least for now. Because again, I realize I have stuff to lose, but again, there's other people out here that do not have shit to lose. And it's one thing if you want to sit there and tell, quote unquote, Chicago, Baltimore, Detroit, if you know what I mean. If you want to go and hit them with all those talking points of, oh, just work hard, do all that stuff. You're not going to come to the people that actually did work hard and start telling them that shit, that they're not working hard enough, that they, no. Especially when you, this is probably coming from boomers more than likely, especially when you had it infinitely easier at our age. And there's really no reason why it should be as hard as it is at our age, but it just happens to be. And no, it's not all from AI. AI just got here. Despite all the globalization, despite all the global competition, supposed global competition, supposed, and AI finally starting to rise from the ground, or fall from the sky, whatever. Despite all of that, it should not be as bad as it is now. It's this bad now because of synthetic intervention, not because of all natural, straight from nature, raw modus operandi, okay? So, society, shit's gonna have to change and change soon. Or else you're gonna have to deal with the people that busted their ass, you're sitting here screwing them over, because you don't want to give them, society and as a whole, and people with the money specifically, the means to take care of themselves, to live life. And they're going to take umbrage to that.